Next week on Home and Away in the UK, as John forces himself back into Cash and Eden's wedding plans, the question of who will walk Eden down the aisle could derail everything. The day of the Newman Fowler wedding is fast approaching in Summer Bay, but there seems to be a little progress in the planning department, prompting John to intervene. John had, of course, originally been drafted in as Cash and Eden's celebrant, but reluctantly stood down after hearing of Irene's diagnosis, unsure at that time as to what the future may hold. But now that Irene has left Summer Bay, with John set to visit her in Paris in a few weeks' time, he's itching to hear all the details about the wedding. Next week, with Cash currently away, John can't help but bombard Eden with a stream of questions. Eden struggles to answer many of them, admitting that she's not finalized the numbers, sorted out hair and makeup, or even found a dress yet. John's particularly keen to know how the new celebrant, Jennifer, is handling things. He's surprised to learn that she isn't as far into the planning process as he would usually be, though it soon becomes clear he's got an ulterior motive in his inquiries. Acting entirely on impulse, John takes it upon himself to call Jennifer and inform her that her services are no longer required. As far as John's concerned, he's back in the role. Not that Eden or Cash know it yet. Eden is mortified when she hears what he's done, but after John explains himself, she starts to see the reasoning behind his actions. His decision to step away from the ceremony had been tied up in his devastation over Irene, and he now feels ready to finish what he started. Touched by his honesty, Eden agrees to reinstate him as celebrant, allowing John to throw himself back into planning mode. Eden finds herself struggling to make choices without her fiancé's input, but John is determined to keep the momentum going. Over coffees and pastries back at the share house, the pair finally start making real progress, until John innocently asks who's going to walk her down the aisle. The question leaves Eden stumped. Having always imagined a traditional wedding, the moment of being walked down the aisle means a lot to her, but she doesn't know who to ask. After years of choosing to remain estranged from her father, Jimmy, Aaron Jeffrey, she'd been reluctant to invite him at all, so he isn't really at the top of Eden's list. Meanwhile, over at the farmhouse, Levi, Tristan Gorey, and Mackenzie, Emily Ware, return home after spending some time in the city with her mom, ready for their next ultrasound appointment. Their IVF talk is interrupted when Levi gets an urgent call from Eden, who insists she needs to see him straight away. He rushes to meet her, only to find the emergency isn't quite what he expected. She simply wants to ask him something important. Eden explains that she'd like him to be the one to walk her down the aisle. Levi is floored by the request, deeply moved but also concerned about how their dad might react. After discussing it further with Levi, Eden decides to phone her dad to break the news to him and ask for his blessing. Levi later receives a call from Jimmy, and dropping by Eden's, he updates her. Whilst Jimmy was disappointed, he was grateful that she'd asked for his thoughts on the matter. It felt like progress. With his dad's blessing given, Levi gives Eden his answer: he'd be honored to walk her down the aisle. But their sister Abigail, Haley Pinto, doesn't share their enthusiasm when she hears the news, storming into the farmhouse with her view that the decision is a step backwards from the peace they've finally found within their family.